Welcome to Lost at 3 AM. Put your phone down, close your eyes, and let this be the last video you hear tonight. Relax, breathe, and let's begin. Tonight, we're traveling to the peaceful Shire, a land of rolling hills, cozy hobbit holes, and quiet streams. It's the home of Frodo Baggins, the unassuming hero of The Lord of the Rings, a hobbit who carried the weight of the world on his small shoulders. Frodo's journey is one of quiet courage and sacrifice. He wasn't a warrior, a king, or a wizard. He was an ordinary hobbit plucked from the safety of his home and thrust into a world of danger. Yet, through it all, he showed that even the smallest person can change the course of history. As you settle in, let Frodo's story unfold. His peaceful beginnings in the Shire, his unexpected role as the ring-bearer, and the choices that shape the fate of Middle-earth. Let's begin. Frodo Baggins didn't begin his life as a hero. He grew up in the Shire, a quiet and peaceful land where hobbits lived simply, enjoying good food, warm fires, and the comforts of home. Frodo was born on September 22nd, sharing a birthday with his uncle, Bilbo Baggins, who would become one of the most important figures in his life. Frodo's early years were marked by both joy and tragedy. His parents, Drogo Baggins and Primula Brandybuck, tragically drowned in a boating accident when Frodo was just 12 years old. Orphaned and alone, he was taken in by his extended family, but struggled to feel truly at home. That all changed when Bilbo, his eccentric and adventurous uncle, decided to adopt him and bring him to Bag End in Hobbiton. Under Bilbo's care, Frodo found stability and a sense of belonging. Bilbo became more than just an uncle. He was a mentor and a storyteller, filling Frodo's imagination with tales of far-off lands, daring adventures, and of course, dragons. It was in Bag End, surrounded by the quiet beauty of the Shire, that Frodo developed his love for books, maps, and stories of the wider world. Despite his peaceful surroundings, Frodo always had a spark of curiosity, a quiet longing for something beyond the green fields and winding roads of the Shire. This yearning, paired with his close bond to Bilbo, would later shape his willingness to leave the safety of home and take on the enormous task of carrying the One Ring. But in these early years, Frodo was simply a hobbit, a kind-hearted, thoughtful soul who found joy in the simple pleasures of life, never suspecting the extraordinary journey that awaited him. As you close your eyes, imagine the gentle hills of the Shire, the warm glow of Bag End's round windows at twilight, and the soft sound of laughter carried on the breeze. A world of peace just before the call to adventure. Frodo's connection to the One Ring began not with a great quest, but with an ordinary inheritance, one that would change the fate of Middle-earth forever. It was through his uncle, Bilbo Baggins, that Frodo came into possession of the ring, a seemingly simple gold band that held an unimaginable secret. Bilbo had found the ring decades earlier, during his own adventure chronicled in The Hobbit. For years, the ring rested quietly in Bag End, hidden away in Bilbo's possession. Though Bilbo cherished the trinket, he never fully understood its true nature. Over time, however, the ring began to affect him, feeding on his mind and subtly tightening its grip. When Bilbo decided to leave the Shire for good, he passed the ring on to Frodo. At first, Frodo saw it as little more than a keepsake, a memento of his beloved uncle. But soon, the truth began to unravel. The wizard Gandalf the Grey, ever watchful and wise, revealed that this was no ordinary ring. It was the One Ring, forged by the Dark Lord Sauron to control the other rings of power and dominate all life in Middle-earth. The weight of this revelation was staggering. The ring wasn't just dangerous, it was a corruptive force, whispering temptations and drawing its bearer toward darkness. Despite this, Frodo accepted the responsibility of keeping the ring safe, a quiet act of courage that would set him on an extraordinary path. Frodo's connection to the ring was unique. Unlike others who sought it for power, he bore it out of duty, guided by a deep sense of right and wrong. Yet, from the moment he slipped the ring into his pocket, it began to work its dark influence. Even Frodo, kind and pure-hearted as he was, would feel its pull. a reminder that no one is completely immune to its power. As you close your eyes, picture the quiet of Bag End, Frodo holding the ring for the first time, its golden surface glinting softly in the light. The journey ahead is uncertain, but within Frodo lies the courage to carry this immense burden, even as the shadows begin to creep closer. When Frodo learned of the ring's true nature, his peaceful life in the Shire was shattered. With Gandalf's guidance, he began a journey that would take him far beyond the familiar hills of his home. But Frodo didn't travel alone. He was joined by a band of unlikely companions, forming the Fellowship of the Ring. The Fellowship was created in Rivendell after Frodo's perilous escape from the pursuing Nazgul, the dark servants of Sauron. At the Council of Elrond, it was decided that the ring must be destroyed, cast back into the fires of Mount Doom, where it was forged. Frodo, despite the overwhelming danger, volunteered to carry the ring, a decision that showed his quiet strength and deep sense of responsibility. Joining him was his ever-loyal friend Samwise Gamgee, whose unwavering dedication would become Frodo's greatest support. They were also accompanied by Merry and Pippin, two mischievous hobbits who, despite their playful nature, would prove themselves to be brave and resourceful allies. The Fellowship grew to include Aragorn, a ranger with a noble heart and a secret royal lineage, and Legolas, an elven archer with unparalleled grace and skill. Gimli, a proud dwarf warrior, and Boromir, a man of Gondor struggling with the temptation of the ring, completed the group. At its head was Gandalf, whose wisdom and guidance would light their way. Together they set out on their quest, facing countless dangers, treacherous mountains, dark forests, and the deep, shadowed halls of Moria. Frodo, though not a warrior, emerged as the Fellowship's quiet leader, driven by a determination to do what was right, even at great personal cost. Yet, the ring's influence grew heavier with every step. Frodo began to feel its whispers, tempting him with promises of power and safety, even as it drained his strength. Despite this, he pressed on, his bond with the Fellowship giving him the courage to continue. The Fellowship itself was more than just a group. It was a symbol of unity and trust, bringing together individuals from different races, cultures, and backgrounds. Frodo's role as ring-bearer wasn't about strength or skill. It was about his ability to inspire others to stand together against the darkness. As the Fellowship's journey unfolded, Frodo and Samwise Gamgee found themselves increasingly alone, carrying the burden of the ring deeper into the heart of danger. Their bond, forged in the peaceful Shire, grew stronger with every step, becoming a source of strength as they ventured into the perilous lands of Middle-earth. Their journey began in earnest after the Fellowship was broken at Amon Hen, when Frodo, realizing the ring's corruptive power, decided to continue the quest alone. Yet Sam refused to leave Frodo's side, vowing to protect and support him no matter the cost. "I made a promise, Mr. Frodo," Sam declared. "Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee, and I don't mean to." From the dead marshes, where ghostly lights flickered over the murky waters, to the barren, ashen wastes of Mordor, Frodo and Sam faced countless challenges. Hunger, exhaustion, and the ring's growing weight tested them at every turn. Yet, through it all, Sam's unyielding loyalty kept them moving forward. He became not just Frodo's companion, but his anchor, a reminder of the Shire and the hope they were fighting to preserve. Their journey also brought them face to face with Gollum, a twisted creature who once bore the ring and was consumed by its power. Gollum, torn between helping and betraying Frodo, became both a guide and a danger. Frodo, seeing the toll the ring had taken on Gollum, treated him with unexpected compassion, a decision that would later prove pivotal. The closer they came to Mount Doom, the heavier the ring's burden grew. Frodo's physical and emotional strength began to waver, yet Sam's unwavering belief in him never faltered. Even when Frodo doubted himself, Sam's quiet encouragement and determination carried them through the darkest moments. Their journey wasn't marked by grand battles or displays of power, but by persistence, resilience, and the strength of their friendship. Together they showed that heroism isn't about being fearless, it's about continuing to move forward, even when the path seems impossible. The One Ring was not just a physical burden for Frodo, it was a relentless test of his spirit, a constant force whispering temptations and threats into his mind. The closer Frodo carried the ring to Mordor, the stronger its hold on him became, revealing the true power of its corruption. At first, the ring seemed harmless, a simple golden band that Bilbo had carried for decades without fully realizing its nature. But Frodo quickly learned that its influence was far more dangerous than he could have imagined. The ring had a way of feeding on the fears and desires of its bearer, twisting their thoughts and slowly consuming their willpower. The ring's effect on Frodo became more pronounced as the journey continued. He began to feel its weight, not just physically, but emotionally, a constant pressure that drained his strength and made him question his resolve. At times, he was tempted to use it, to slip it on and disappear, but he knew that doing so would expose him to Sauron's gaze and draw the Dark Lord's servants closer. Frodo wasn't the only one affected by the ring. At Amon Hen, the power of the ring drove Boromir to a breaking point, leading him to try and take it from Frodo by force. This betrayal shook Frodo deeply, reinforcing his realization that the ring had the power to corrupt even the noblest hearts. It was in that moment that Frodo decided he must continue the journey alone, believing that the burden was his alone to bear. But Frodo's greatest test came as he approached Mount Doom, the very heart of Sauron's power. By then, the ring's influence had grown nearly unbearable. Its whispers became screams, its weight like a chain around his neck. Every step became a struggle, every moment a battle between his willpower and the ring's malevolent pull. The most profound moment of temptation came at the very end, standing at the edge of the fires of Mount Doom. After all he had endured, Frodo could not bring himself to destroy the ring. The temptation proved too great, and for a brief moment, the ring claimed him completely. It was only through the intervention of Gollum, who fought Frodo for the ring and accidentally fell into the fiery chasm, that the ring was destroyed. Frodo's mercy toward Gollum earlier in the journey, despite his treachery, proved to be the key to the ring's ultimate destruction. Frodo's journey was defined not just by his strength, but by his capacity for mercy and compassion, qualities that shaped the fate of Middle-earth in ways no one could have foreseen. Perhaps the most striking example of this was his treatment of Gollum, the tormented creature who became both a guide and a threat during his quest. Gollum, once a hobbit-like being named Smeagol, had been corrupted by the ring over centuries, transforming into a shadow of his former self. Twisted by its influence, Gollum's entire existence revolved around the ring, which he referred to as his precious. When Frodo and Sam encountered Gollum in the Dead Marshes, Sam saw him as a danger, untrustworthy, treacherous, and beyond redemption. But Frodo saw something else, a reflection of what the ring could do to anyone, including himself. Frodo's decision to spare Gollum's life wasn't just an act of kindness, it was a moment of deep understanding. He recognized the toll the ring had taken on Gollum, and, in doing so, glimpsed his own possible future. "I have to believe he can be saved," Frodo once said, not just for Gollum's sake, but for his own hope of resisting the ring's corruption. Their relationship was fragile, marked by moments of trust and betrayal. Gollum guided Frodo and Sam through dangerous terrain, helping them avoid capture and find secret paths to Mordor. Yet his split personality, torn between the remnants of Smeagol's innocence and Gollum's darker instincts, constantly threatened to undo their fragile alliance. The moment of greatest betrayal came when Gollum led Frodo and Sam into the lair of Shelob, a monstrous spider. Yet even after surviving this deadly ambush, Frodo continued to show compassion for Gollum, refusing to let anger or vengeance consume him. In the end, it was this mercy that changed the course of history. At the very edge of Mount Doom, when Frodo himself succumbed to the ring's power and claimed it as his own, it was Gollum who intervened. Driven by his obsession, Gollum fought Frodo for the ring, ultimately falling into the fiery chasm with it, destroying both himself and the ring in the process. Frodo's compassion had allowed Gollum to live, and in doing so, ensured the ring's destruction. It was a profound reminder that even in the darkest of times, acts of mercy can have far-reaching consequences. Frodo's journey to destroy the One Ring wasn't just a test of endurance. It left deep scars, both physical and emotional. Even after his quest was complete, the weight of what he had endured lingered, reminding us that great sacrifices often come at a personal cost. The physical toll of carrying the ring was clear. Frodo bore the wound from the Morgul blade, inflicted by the Witch King on Weathertop, a wound that never fully healed. The lingering pain served as a constant reminder of how close he had come to death. He also carried the marks of Shelob's attack and the relentless weight of the ring, which had drained his strength and tested his willpower with every step toward Mordor. But perhaps the deepest wounds were not visible. The ring's influence had left an imprint on Frodo's mind and spirit, one that did not simply vanish when it was destroyed. Frodo had stared into the abyss, feeling the ring's power take hold of him, and those memories were not easily forgotten. He had carried the burden of darkness for so long that even in moments of peace, it lingered, like a shadow at the edge of his thoughts. Returning to the Shire, Frodo found it difficult to readjust to the life he had left behind. While his friends celebrated their victory and the restoration of peace, Frodo felt isolated, as if the world around him had moved on without him. He had saved the Shire, but the Shire could not save him from the pain he carried inside. Frodo recorded his story in the Red Book of Westmarch, chronicling his journey as a way to make sense of it all. Yet, even writing it down could not fully heal the wounds. Frodo came to realize that some burdens were too great to bear alone, and that his place was no longer in Middle-earth. In the end, Frodo made the decision to sail to the Undying Lands, the realm of the elves, where he could find the peace and healing that eluded him in the Shire. His departure was bittersweet, a farewell to the friends who had stood by him, but also a step toward the rest and relief he had earned. Frodo's scars remind us that heroism often comes with a price. His journey wasn't about returning unchanged. It was about enduring, persevering, and finding a way to heal, even if it meant leaving behind what he loved most. Frodo's decision to sail to the Undying Lands marked the final chapter of his journey, a bittersweet farewell that symbolized healing, closure, and the enduring sacrifices of heroism. After everything he had endured, Frodo came to realize that the Shire, as much as he loved it, could no longer offer him the peace he needed. The Undying Lands, also known as Valinor, were a realm of beauty and immortality, home to the elves and the Valar. While mortals like Frodo were not typically allowed to enter, exceptions were made for those who had borne incredible burdens. Frodo, having carried the One Ring and suffered its torment, was given the gift of sailing west, where he could find the rest and healing he so desperately needed. Frodo wasn't alone in this journey. He was joined by Bilbo Baggins, his beloved uncle, who had also carried the ring and felt its lingering effects. Gandalf, having completed his purpose in Middle-earth, and the elves Elrond and Galadriel, who had guided the Fellowship, also made the voyage. Together they departed from the Grey Havens, leaving behind the world they had fought so hard to protect. The scene of Frodo's departure is one of quiet reflection. His friends, Sam, Merry, and Pippin, stood on the shores, watching as the ship carried Frodo away. It was a moment of sorrow, as they realized they would never see their dear friend again. But it was also a moment of hope, as they understood that Frodo was finally finding the peace he deserved. Before leaving, Frodo entrusted the Red Book of Westmarch to Sam, ensuring that the story of their journey would be remembered. Frodo's part in the tale had ended, but his legacy would live on, inspiring others to find courage and hope in the face of darkness. Sailing to the Undying Lands wasn't just a physical departure, it was a metaphorical one, a reminder that even heroes need rest. Frodo's journey was complete, and while his friends would miss him, they found comfort in knowing that he had finally found a place where his scars could heal. Frodo Baggins' story is more than a tale of adventure. It's a story of resilience, sacrifice, and the quiet courage to carry a burden far greater than oneself. Frodo wasn't a warrior or a king. He was a simple hobbit, chosen not for his strength, but for his heart. A heart capable of enduring the weight of the One Ring and its overwhelming temptation. Throughout his journey, Frodo showed us what it truly means to be a hero. It's not about power or fame, but about the willingness to stand against darkness, even when the odds seem impossible. Frodo faced trials that would break most, yet he pressed on, step by painful step, because he knew the fate of Middle-earth depended on him. Frodo's story also reminds us of the importance of friendship and support. Without Samwise Gamgee, Frodo's journey would have been impossible. Sam carried Frodo when he could no longer walk, reminded him of the Shire when he felt lost, and stayed by his side through the darkest moments. Their bond is a testament to the strength we find in others and the power of loyalty. But Frodo's tale isn't just one of triumph. It's also a reflection on the scars that remain after great sacrifices. Frodo saved Middle-earth, but the weight of his burden left wounds that would never fully heal. His decision to sail to the Undying Lands wasn't an escape. It was a step toward the peace and rest he had earned after so much pain. Frodo's legacy is one of hope. His journey proves that even the smallest person can change the course of history, that acts of kindness and courage can defeat even the greatest evils, and that there's always light even in the darkest of times. As you close your eyes tonight, think of Frodo standing on the shores of the Grey Havens, the soft waves lapping at his feet, and the light of a new journey ahead of him. His story may have ended, but the lessons he leaves behind, the courage to carry on, the value of friendship, and the hope for healing will endure forever. Thank you for spending your evening with Lost at 3 a.m. Sleep well, and may your dreams carry you to the peaceful hills of the Shire, where adventures begin and memories linger like the soft glow of a fire.